$1 trillion in additional black wealth in probably a decade or two. I mean, literally, like we get 1.3 trillion in spending that we have every year, and we literally give most of that money away. We give that money right back to white people. So if you're fighting against oppression and you're fighting against discrimination and institutional, structural, blah 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 blah, well, you can't fight against yourself. You're not going to be able to get ahead if you're fighting against yourself. And one way we fight against ourselves is we kind of fuel and fund white supremacy. So anyway, how you doing, Landry and Lamond and Axel and Shamika and Kenyatta? And Kenyatta says, yeah, our Amazon stock has doubled in the last 2 years for about $900 a share. It's about $1,800 a share. Yeah, Amazon, I invested in Amazon. Amazon, I'm going to tell you what, if somebody had invested in Amazon 20 years ago and just put the amount of money that we spend on fast food or going out to eat and put that into Amazon stock, that person would be close to being a millionaire. They would have hundreds of thousands of dollars in liquid assets, because right now Amazon stock's $1,800 a share, and I remember it was like $5, $10, and even then people thought that it was overpriced, right? So basically Donald Trump, believe it or not, Donald Trump actually on Christmas Day, if you go back to Christmas Day 2018, which isn't that long ago, it's just a few months ago, he actually said that he felt it was a great opportunity to buy stocks. All three major exchanges, I'm reading this article from Market Business or Business Insider, it says all three major averages have rallied more than 20% since Trump's call. Let's see, I'm reading the article. It says on December 25th, with the stock market down 15% for the month, and having just posted its worst Christmas Eve performance in history and lowest close since April 2017, Trump boldly declared it was time to buy. Quote, they have record kinds of numbers, the president told reporters at the White House, referring to American companies. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity to buy, really a great opportunity to buy. The next day, the major averages soared 5%, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average posting again. Now, 5% in one day is huge. 5%, I know investors that get 5% a year, 8% a year. 5% in a day is massive. So it went up by more than 1,000 points, the biggest single day point gain in history. From there, it was off to the races, with the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ all gaining more than 20%. Of course, making bold stock market calls runs in the family. In February 2018, Eric Trump, the younger of the president's adult sons, went out on a limb and said to buy after the market had fallen 10% from its recent highs amid fears of Federal Reserve interest rate hikes. Quote, the market's going to continue to be incredibly strong, Trump told Fox Business. I think actually right now is probably a great period to buy. So let me break this down, though. It probably sounds like I'm giving Donald Trump all this credit for being an economic genius, and I'm not. I'm not going into that, right? In fact, I don't even care about your politics. I don't care what you think about him. If you want to go bitch about how much you hate Donald Trump, just do it somewhere else. Not because I don't agree with you, because that doesn't benefit me. It's a waste of my time. What I'm really focusing on here is two things. One, I don't care what the politics say. Trump has control of a lot of financial assets, and typically people that have control of assets at that level, they've been doing something different from other people. It doesn't mean that everything they've been doing has been legal. I think Trump has done some illegal things to get his money. When you're in the casino business, that's a dirty business, right? So he's probably linked with the mob and all the Russian accusations, the Russian connections, they're right there in his business deals. I mean, if you look at his business deals, the man has, he was bailed out by Russians on multiple occasions. So I do believe that there's Russian influence, but the reason it doesn't bother me that much is because all of our politics is corrupted. All of our politicians are owned by somebody. Barack Obama was owned by corporations. Hillary Clinton, so it's kind of one of those things where, it's like there's the game of political outrage, and it's like entertainment. It's like watching TV for us. It's just fun. Like we like to get pissed off about what we saw on MSNBC, but the problem is that it's not helping your kids eat. It's not putting money in your bank account. It's not making your life better. It's putting money in MSNBC's bank account. Right. And so what I will say is that with Trump, you can learn something in terms of, of the way he has used the stock market to make billions of dollars for his family. Let me tell you what I think is going on. Now, you guys know I have a PhD in finance, so this isn't just coming from some guy yapping on the internet. I have a real doctorate in finance that took me many, many years to obtain. Like years and years of dedicated education. It wasn't like I did it in a weekend. So here's what I'm seeing when it comes to Trump's statements about the market. Trump understands a few basic things. I don't think he and his brother, or excuse me, his son, are you know, stock market soothsayers. I don't think that they have some sort of amazing insights that comes from, you know, some sort of high level mathematical analytics that allow them to see things other people can't see. They're not analysts. They understand human nature. And one of the things Trump has always known for probably 30 years is that the market sometimes can be built on self-fulfilling prophecies. You know, Trump knows that what he says affects the market. If Trump wanted to cause $1 trillion in value to be lost in the market in a day, or at least half a trillion, all he'd have to do is say something on Twitter that makes people nervous. You know, he could just say, you know, I was thinking about launching a nuclear warhead out this morning, but I changed my mind. And that would cause the markets to crash. You know, hundreds of billions of dollars in value will be lost in a second. You know, and he also knows on the flip side that when he has confidence in the market, when he says things that make the market confident, then he knows that people will go out and buy. So if Trump says, oh, it's a great time to buy, well, there are people who are like, oh, okay, I'll go buy, right? You know, it's really just like how a rapper tells you like what fashion to wear, and people start wearing that fashion, but then they think that they made the decision on their own, when really it was because your favorite rapper was wearing it, so now you think it's cool. You know, but you don't even realize like the manipulation that has taken place. So Trump tells you that the market's going to go up. Well, a lot of times the market does go up because people start buying because of Trump. In fact, in the 1980s, Trump used to do something that was really interesting. He would go and it was in the 80s. It was a time where they did a lot of hostile takeovers, where somebody could just go in and easily buy up your whole company, and you have nothing to do with it. They could literally just own your company by going on the market and buying up all your stock and saying, hey, I own you. You know, you work for me now, right? And so during that time, you can't do that so much anymore because they put regulations in place. But anyway, at that time, Trump used to go and he would start buying up a company's stock. And then when he was buying up the stock, he would leak it. He would leak the rumor that he's buying up all the stock. So as the rumor got leaked to the public, everybody would say, Donald Trump is buying up all the stock in Holiday Inn. He's buying. He owns 2% now. Now he owns 4%. And so what that would do is that would cause other people to say, oh, he must be preparing to buy out this company. So then they would all go start buying the stock, and then the price would start going up and up and up. And then, as Real Ghost says, exactly, it would be a pump and dump. Trump pumps up the stock, like you're pumping up your bicycle. Stock price goes up and up and up and up and up, and then he sells. He says, psych, I was just playing with y'all. I'm not gonna buy this company. I changed my mind. Right? And so, you know, technically that's supposed to be illegal, right? 50 Cent did something like that, or he was accused of doing something like that by using his Instagram following to get people to buy into a penny stock. He mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, he was accused of mentioning some obscure penny stock and saying everybody should buy this stock. So a lot of people were like, oh, 50 Cent's buying the stock, I'm gonna go buy it. So the price goes up, 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 up. When the price got high, 50 Cent bails, right? And that's what he was accused of doing. I'm not saying he did it. I'm just saying that was what the accusation was. And that's what they call a pump and dump. So with Trump, a pump and dump on Trump, right? They all kind of rhymes. So with Trump, I don't think that he has any sort of remarkable insight into the market, but I do say that he has an insight into making money. His family for 100 years, if you research the history of his family in 100 years, they have been good at making money. What happens in politics is that because politics is so divided, we chop people up and we reduce them to complete idiots or complete frauds or whatever. And I think that's unfortunate, because what happens is you have somebody super intelligent like a Barack Obama, who's a remarkable man, who's accomplished quite a bit, who's a brilliant professor. And the Republicans are like, oh no, he's not brilliant. He's just the Antichrist. He's un-American. He's a Muslim terrorist in disguise. That's what they call dehumanization. So they reduce him to just being this big idiot who just says stupid things or whatever, right? Well, we do the same thing on the liberal side or on the Democratic side, right? We'll look at the Republicans. We'll look at somebody like Dr. Ben Carson, who was an extraordinary surgeon, who's a brilliant man, who accomplished quite a bit. My mother used to tell me about Ben Carson when I was little, and she would talk about how he had a single mom and they lived in projects, and through hard work, he was able to go to medical school and become this brilliant doctor. And I was inspired by that. But when he got into politics, people were just like, oh, he's just an idiot and he's a coon and he's this and he's that. So I think that people that are smart, you know, this is why I deliberately always say my platform's for intelligent Black people. I really want people that are able to kind of rise above the nonsense and not engage in too much of the mob behavior. You know, like we have too much going on the internet where everybody just kind of grabs onto a trend, or if everybody's hashtagging something, that you'll start believing it or whatever, or you believe one side of the story and give no weight whatsoever to the other side. I think that the smartest person in the game, the chess master in the game, is the person who understands all sides of the game. That, you know, when you talk about playing checkers versus chess, you know, a good chess master cannot just tell you what my next move is going to be based on what I'm seeing from my perspective. I base my next move on what I think your next move is going to be. So in order for me to really understand how to defeat you, I got to put myself in your shoes and make sense of your strategy, and not just say, oh, he's just a big idiot, he's just going to do something stupid. Because if you just think that way, then that's how your enemies defeat you. So I think with Donald Trump, I don't really care enough about the man to see him as a friend or a foe. I see him as a person that has something that I would like to have for my people, which is wealth and power. You know, and I'll tell you, you know, this stock market has been raining money for the last 20 or 30 years. It ain't like the last year. It ain't like this month is really a good month. No, I'm telling you. Tell me if you're an investor. If you're an investor, say something. Say, I'm an investor. I'm investing. And I hope a lot of people say something. Because if you're not an investor, I'm going to encourage you, become an investor. It's not that hard to invest. You got to get started, because there is a lot of money being made right now in the market. So when people run around the black community saying, oh, where's the money? There's no black wealth. We have no black wealth. Well, we have black wealth. You know where black wealth is? Black wealth it's at the mall. Black wealth was put into the movie The Black Panther. We invested $700 million into a movie, right? Disney now has taken that wealth and it's become white wealth. Black wealth has become white wealth because we gave Disney $700 million. We can't even raise $700 million for our HBCUs, but we raised $700 million for white wealth. We raise more money for white wealth than we do for black wealth. You know, so I see a lot of people saying that you're invested. Kenyatta, Landry, Eric, Cornelius, or Cornelis, I'm sorry, Shamika. Okay, good. So it looks like we're getting, you know, the momentum's picking up. And I just want to encourage you to understand one basic rule. Here's a fundamental point that I'm making on this conversation. I'm gonna keep this short. The best way to rise up out of the oppression that black people endure is to not imitate the behavior that you're seeing from all the other oppressed people around you. Most black people are not capable of seeing how we're contributing to white supremacy with our behavior. They get mad if you bring that up. You know, and so I learned that really the best way to get out of bad situations as a black man is to not imitate the behavior that I'm seeing all around me. And I see a lot of people that get caught up they major in the minors. They put more time into having emotional energy and being pissed off because of what white people have that we don't have, or, you know, blaming everything on slavery, blaming everything on oppression, you know. And I realize when I'm in my house, when I walk around my house every day, there's never a white man in my house telling me what to do. You know, there's not a white man in my house telling me that I can or cannot invest in the market. There's not a white man in my house telling me that I can or cannot read a book. There's not a white man in my house telling me what to do with the children that are in my home, you know? So I think that we have to just be clear about what they control and what they do not control, and they do not control every aspect of your life. So what I would say is, okay, maybe there are the areas that they do control that affect you, and you want to deal with that, right? Maybe get away from that if you can. That's why I'm a big advocate of starting businesses, so you can get away from that. My mental health got much better when I didn't have to work with white people every day, not because I hate white people, but because they're so different. Their culture is so different that it was stressing me out. You know, I didn't like being mistreated every day. It was not fun for me. But you know, there are other parts of your life that they may control, but then there's a whole range of areas that they do not control. And I encourage you to focus on that. Okay, so if you haven't started to invest, feel free to, you should definitely get started. The apps I use are Stash, Acorns, and Robinhood. Those are great apps. Also, you guys may know I have a stock market investing class. If you want to go take a look, you can go get a free month trial right now at theblackstockmarketprogram.com, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. It's all part of the Black Business School, which is our university, our institution. We don't seek accreditation. We give accreditation because we believe in building systems. We believe that the secret to Black power is not to make it through the system, is to build a new system, to evacuate the building and build something better. So we're not trying to get a seat at the table. We believe in building tables, and then we let other people, we decide if other people can have a seat at our table. So when you start building a table, the table's not that big in the beginning, but big tables come from small tables. So Harvard University started as a small little university that a few people started, and now it's an amazing institution. So 200, 300 years from now, the Black Business School will be a premier educational institution for Black people in America. And why is that important? Well, because right now you see HBCUs making laws and rules that don't make any sense. Like you see Howard University made a decision recently that confused a lot of Black people, you know, in terms of admitting students that were female but identified as male and transgender. And it's not to say that that's a bad or good decision. You can feel how you want about that. But my point in that was not to say whether the decision was bad or good. I don't have that right. My point was to say that Black people should have been making that decision. And the reason Black people didn't make that decision, in my opinion, they pretended to, right? The Board of Trustees voted for the decision, but I believe that it was white money that drove the pressure for Black people to have to make that decision in that institution. So we need our own institutions, and they need their own funding sources that go outside of the federal government, because the minute that you do something that they don't approve of, first thing they do is they shut your money down. That's how economic warfare is played. That's how the Chinese have power all around the globe. That's how the white man has always had power over you. That's how they control so much of that happens in our communities. So the way we're going to have power in the next generation, a segment of the Black community will have a tremendous amount of power, is because there's going to be a segment of Black people where their children are going to be the most financially literate, most financially prepared young people on the planet. And those individuals are going to make moves. They're going to make money moves. They're going to make major moves, and they're going to make amazing moves that are going to put them in a position around the year 2070, 2080, that are going to put them ahead of everybody else. So that's it. So let's get ready for the revolution. We got 50 years to prepare. I know we're going to win, and we're just doing the preliminary preparation in this generation, because it's really going to be the next generation and the generation after that that I believe are that the biggest things are going to happen. So anyway, I'm going to go, guys. Have a good day, and the summer's coming, so if you want something great for your kids to do, feel free to go check out some of our financial workbooks that we created for Black children, and also financial flashcards. You can go to financialworkbooks.com or financialflashcards.com, financialworkbooks.com or financialflashcards.com. Also, don't forget this podcast is on iTunes, so you can feel free to look for me on iTunes as well. Hit the thumbs up button before you go. I'm out of here. And yes, Fist Fury, you will be dead by then. In fact, most of the most interesting results from what we do in this generation will occur after we're dead. So that's what it means to build empires. Empire builders are people that accomplish more when they're dead than they did when they were alive. So let's plant the seeds. It ain't about us. Let's get things in place so that in the next generation, our children and grandchildren will be able to make power moves. So that's it. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.